Okay, people, this is a spontaneous interview. I haven't done one for a while. With a lady called Karen Jones, who's just hugely brave and coming forward as an ex high class escort from, I don't know, what decade would you say was?
From around 82 to around 88.
Yeah, so from the 80s,
Yeah.
and just has, we have a lot of things that we can discuss from our London days where things overlap with the Khashoggis and with the water gardens and different things, and even, but I'm just going to let Karen talk for the most part because she's got some information to bring forward and I'll try not to interrupt. Right,
Okay.
go for it. The stage is yours. I'm delighted to meet you.
Thank you. And it's lovely to meet you at last as well. Okay, so yeah, I was an escort. I worked for an escort agency in Baker Street, and I didn't do very well with the average escort because they were mainly Arab men, and I was a skinny girl. They like big, round, curvy girls, so I didn't do well. But there was one client who came in. He was related to the Churchills. He I went to his apartment and he said to me, I'm going to introduce you to somebody, and you'll do very well through her. Now, I went to this beautiful Muse house in Kensington. I ended up living there for a few years. And the lady that owned the
Is
house,
it Madam Sin? Are you going to tell me Madam Sin?
no, oh my God, no.
Okay, sorry.
Um, no, her name was Bridget, actually,
Okay, okay.
Bridget Swanson. And all Bridget's clients were English or American or Irish, but there were no Arab men.
Okay.
Um, and so, the English, like the skinny blonde with the big blue eyes and the, bit dumb, and as I was in them days. And so I did do very, very well. I worked for Bridget for about 2 years, and then I bought my own flat in Fulham. Um, well, actually, Hammersmith. It was Greyhound Road in Hammersmith. I call it the dark side of Fulham. However, once I'd moved out of Bridget's house, I'd got a job and I was working in a hotel. But one night, Bridget rang me at my flat, and she said to me, "Are you still working?" So I said, "Yeah, I'll do the odd escort. I don't mind doing the odd escort." And she said, "Well, I have this client at the Barbican." Okay, come on. It's my cat.
Oh,
Um, I have a client at the Barbican, and she didn't give me his name, which was unusual. It wasn't unusual to go to the Barbican because a lot of stockbrokers and people have penthouses there.
yep.
But it wasn't on that side of the Barbican. It was on the very ordinary side where, people lived, you know, there's one part of the Barbican where it's they're owned by companies. The apartments are owned by companies. And then there's another side of the Barbican where they are residential, people actually live there. So I went to this apartment. It wasn't your usual luxury, glamorous apartment that I was used to going to. But no matter, I was there for an hour and I was going to get my money and clear off. While I was there, oh, and the client wasn't her usual type. He was Chinese for a start, English Chinese. He had a very Cockney accent, and he worked for an insurance company. It's an insurance company that insures insurance companies. Okay. So all was well and good, and I thought, yay, Chinese, this is going to be 2-minute job. It's true. It's true, Angela. It's true. Okay. So he asked me if I wanted a drink. Would I like brandy, vodka? You know, I drank in those days. I don't drink anymore. And he went into the kitchen to pour me a drink. Was gone for a little while, and I noticed a magazine rack at the side of the sofa, and I reached over to pull out one of the magazines to flick through while he was pouring this drink or whatever the hell he was doing in there. I thought, by the feel of it, excuse me, it was a very glossy magazine like Tatler or Harper's and Queen, one of those, you know, upper class magazines.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, it's a Tatler, probably belongs to his wife or something. I opened it up. I can't remember the cover, but I opened it up and it was a series of photographs with captions. I didn't read the captions. I was too disturbed. And it was all little boys. And they were all being abused, tortured. I closed the magazine straight away and put it back. And I thought, I'm in danger here.
Yeah, yeah.
It did occur to me during the course of the, you know, the businessing to get the magazine and take it with me. But I used to travel light. I had a little tiny Gucci handbag. I put my condoms and my lipstick in it. And that was all I had. And a little tiny bolero leather jacket. I had nowhere to hide this magazine without, you know, the risk of being caught. So I left it, did the business, went back to Bridget's house because you have to pay a commission. I was at Bridget's house. She didn't mention anything. I didn't say anything to her in case she was involved.
Wow.
I'd never experienced anything like it, ever. I went back to my own flat in Fulham, Hammersmith, and I rang the police. I thought, I can't leave that.
Can't unsee that.
I can't
Can I
walk
just
away.
ask what age you were at the time?
I was about 27.
Oh, right. So nothing. So the paedophilia side of things was. It's interesting why people would have that kind of perversion of raping children, torturing children, and still use the services of a beautiful escort in their 20s. It's.
Well, you know, I've had many years to think about this, and I think I was being set up or groomed to go into that. Yeah.
To try and make you a madam to bring children in or something.
To get me either involved in that side of things, or either to set me up in some way. But you know, you talk about intuition. My alarm bells were going. I never had anything more to do with Bridget. In fact, within the next month, I went back to, you know, Manchester, where I'm from, and I didn't work again. And so, you know, it terrified me because the men that this Chinese guy was talking about were a big deal. You know, there were people in the city.
So he was talking. You didn't just see the magazine. He spoke to you about other people. Is that what you're saying? He spoke to you about other people.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you're on an escort, most of it is chatting.
Hello talk. Yeah, that's
getting them to, you know, feel relaxed.
Yeah.
You know, and the intimate side of it is usually very quick and over with in a matter of maybe even, you know, 20 minutes is a long time. You know, well, it was for me. And so it was generally chatting, and this guy was telling me about how him and his friend go to America a lot, or went to America a lot. How, you know, they also went to Thailand. I didn't connect anything at that time because I didn't know. about, you know, what happened in Thailand. I thought it was just a beautiful place that had beautiful food,
Yeah.
you know, and beautiful girls.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about ladyboys or the, you know, the child abuse or the paedophile side of it at that time. This is the 80s.
Yeah.
They were pretty innocent times.
Yeah.
You know, I came from a council estate to, you know, seeing all these riches and the, you know, the clothes and, you know, those, I wasn't interested in the paedophile side. I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I went to the Bridget's Muse house, paid her the commission, you know, it was 20% of whatever you earned, and paid her the commission, got a taxi back to my flat. By this time, it's about midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And I thought, I can't leave that at that. I can't just walk away from that.
Good for you.
Seeing the pain and the terror in these little boys' faces. And it was an expensive magazine, so this was an expensive publication, however you want to see it. So I rang the police.
Which police station do you remember?
Okay, so I didn't want to ring 999 because I didn't want a squad car to turn up.
Okay.
So I rang Kensington and Chelsea police station directly.
Okay.
I got the number from the yellow pages. As you remember, we all had big piles of yellow pages in those days.
Yeah, I remember.
And so I rang them direct, thinking I'm doing the right thing, you know, thinking that, you know, somebody's going to do something and catch them and, you know, save these children. And one thing that really gets to me is when I hear people say, oh, kids in cages. Yeah. Well, some of them were in cages, in tiny cages, so that they were, you know. Anyway, I rang Kensington and Chelsea police station. I must have got through to the station keeper, as Androgine says, you know, the person that answers the phone. Stupidly, I gave them my real name, date of birth, where I lived, because I wanted them to know that I was being genuine. Yeah. I didn't know that this corruption went on. You know, I just didn't know.
We didn't have the internet. And the 70s and 80s were the peak of the paedophile information exchange, Spartacus magazine, Monday Club, the whole thing, Dolphin Square. It was huge. It was huge.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I did go to Dolphin Square on several bookings, but, you know, it was never, you know, they were just ordinary escorts. So I rang Kensington and Chelsea police station. I said to the man that answered, this is my name. This is where I live. I'm an escort. I've just been sent on a booking. And this is what I found. Thinking that they would say, where's the flat? Show us. He said, what's it got to do with you?
Wow.
I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
And then and then he hung up on me. And I'd had a few glasses of wine and brandy at the flat as well, don't forget. So I got angry.
You're lucky you weren't drugged at the flat. When you said he was quite a while making
that occurred to me later on.
Yeah.
You know.
Drugged.
Okay, so, and I remember the flat. I remember everything, where everything was.
Yeah.
There was a reel-to-reel tape in the bedroom. It was a TIAC make, and I remember it because I had a boyfriend who was a musician, and he said TIAC was the best in those days. Okay.
Did he film? Sorry to slow you down a bit. Do you think you were filmed while you serviced him?
I think a few times. I think several times, actually. You know, while I
Go on
lived at
jobs,
Bridget.
whatever jobs, different jobs you'd go on, you'd be filmed, yeah, for
I
print.
think so,
Okay.
at different places, yeah.
Okay.
Because some of the places, they were royalty. There was one guy that was a publisher.
Okay, just slow down. When you say they were royalty, do you mean that literally? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
wow.
There were royals. I'm not going to go into
Okay,
that
I
because
won't press you.
actually they were very nice. You know, the most of the people that I met through Bridget were very nice people,
So Bridget had a
respectful,
nice clientele.
courteous, you know, very, very generous. So anyway, I've had a few glasses of wine by this time, plus 2 brandies at this apartment in the Barbican. And I thought, I'm not leaving it. No, no way. I'm ringing back. So I rang back and I was going to blast this guy. I was going to say, how dare you, these children, you know, I was going to go into this rant. And he put the phone down on me straight away. As soon as I said hello, he put the phone down. I still wasn't satisfied with that. I rang back again a 3rd time. A woman answered this time, and I gave her the story. And all she said to me was, "Watch your back, love."
Wow.
And that is when I realized that I was in trouble.
Because you'd
They
given
had
your
my,
name, your address, your
they
date.
had everything they needed.
And they might consider themselves, because we're a working girl, they might consider, well, nobody's going to listen. Nobody's going to listen.
Well, maybe, yeah. Maybe they were even involved. Who knows
for sure.
what?
Yeah, there has to be a complicit thing, but there's a pecking order. It's like a lot of survivors from children's homes, their testimony would be dismissed because they might have got a drug addiction issue,
Into trouble at some
or
point.
they
Yeah.
might have gone shoplifting, or who knows what. But it's like so easy to discredit
Yes.
normal people.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, all right, it's
So
normal to work, to come from Manchester, go to London, and be a working girl, but it doesn't make you a liar. You
no,
know, it doesn't
no.
make you a liar.
And I was willing, actually, I thought the police would have said, okay, we'll put you through to someone who can deal with this. I had visions that I was going to be in a squad car showing them where the flat
There's the
was.
apartment. That's the one. There's
This
the
is where the guy
feedback.
works. I knew where he worked.
Wow.
Told me where he worked, where his office was in the city.
All they had to have done was do a raid.
Yes.
They didn't even have to believe you.
No.
They just had to have said, let's check it out. We're policemen. That's what we're paid for.
Yeah.
Let's do a raid. Let's get a warrant based on this testimony. And they would have had evidence. End of story. So
yes.
you had to have been involved.
Or I would have been in trouble if
or you were in trouble for telling lies. And it could have been solved as simple as that.
Easy as that. That's what
So
I
why
thought.
were they not doing their job even back then? That's the question.
This is the point. This is the point. Why, even back then, you know, you think it's bad now. I think it was worse back then because there were no voices. Nobody listened. Nobody was interested, you know. And so, you know, oh God, you know, even now, and this was, say, I was about 27. So it was 87, maybe the end of 87. And I just, you know, even now, all this time has passed, I still see those faces, and there's those children, you know, those little lads crunched up in, and so anyway, the other thing that I wanted to address with you.
Before we jump off of that, did you get targeted after that? Did the police?
Oh my God, yeah, because I worked in a very upmarket hotel at the time.
Okay.
I'd bought my flat. I had everything in place. I had a job, and I was.
Then you were like, right, I'm done. I've sorted myself out. Let me have a real life.
This is me,
life.
you know.
Yeah.
I had dreams of being married and having children, and you know, living that lovely, you know, little white picket fence around the house. I thought that that was my aim, you know. I know it's not ambitious. I didn't have any ambitions. I wanted to be a mum.
Yeah.
And so I worked in a hotel, very high class hotel.
Can I ask which one?
Um,
You
it
don't have to tell me. Don't answer anything that you feel
okay.
uncomfortable with.
I will tell you, it was opposite Scotland Yard.
Okay. Right.
Okay. So I worked in this hotel. Sometimes, you know, we work till 2 in the morning. Sometimes, you know, you start early and finish at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And I'm not a paranoid person. I don't have any mental health problems, you know, except maybe depression occasionally, and you know, maybe, and you know, the usual things that you get when you've been involved in difficult situations as a child and as an adult. And I got the tube one morning. And it was about 7 o'clock. I was due to be in work for 8, and my nearest tube was Barron's Court. And I got the tube. There weren't many people there at that time of the morning, but there were two men, and it sounds ridiculous now, but they were men in black.
Yeah, I hear you. I
You see
totally,
what I'm
yeah, I
saying?
was in London in the 70s and the 80s. I hear you.
And they both stared at me. I got on the tube, got to where I was going, and they were still there. They followed me to work. And then I turned round and they went off into the distance. I didn't think anything else of it. And there was a girl that worked, you know, in the hotel. She looked very much like me. You know, she was slight, blonde. She was kind of pretty. And um, I now think she was mistaken for me. And she was badly beaten up on the tube.
God.
She, oh, you know, they made a mess of her.
Oh my
She
God.
never worked again. And I was going home one night. It was late. If you work late, you're staying in the hotel. They have, you know, rooms upstairs where the staff sleep.
Yeah.
I didn't want to stay at the hotel, so I got a taxi. Um, Now it's not a very long journey from this hotel to my flat, and I noticed a BMW following the taxi, and I said to the cab driver, I
Lose him.
said, I said, this is going to sound really dramatic, but
Can
I
you
think,
lose him?
can you lose him? My
Wow.
God, he did. He said, I've seen it. He said, it's all right, love, I've clocked it.
Wow.
And he did lose this BMW, but it did follow us for quite a long time. Then for a few weeks, there was a Lotus parked outside my flat, just parked there. Nobody got in or out of it. I didn't see anybody drive it. And then one morning I got up and it had gone. The other residents, the other people who lived in it was a converted house that would, you know, in
Into
terms of,
flats, yeah, they used to
yeah.
do that, didn't they, all the time?
Well, there were two more flats above mine.
Yeah.
And they had also noticed it and reported it to the police, and then it disappeared. And all these things were kind of mounting up, and I thought, I need to get out of Dodge. Something's not right here. And people, and like friends would ring me, and back in them days, if a phone was being tapped, it had an echo. There was an echo. And I know that my conversations, I never ever mentioned what I saw to anybody, and
All right.
except
Do you know
police.
what? You've frozen. All right. You've unfrozen again. All right. I just pray against any interference. I'm sure we're monitored. Let it happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, let it happen.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember the landlines, and you could tell that if somebody was tapping in,
yeah,
if you were clued up to that possibility. I'm
yeah,
still in shock that you made 3 phone calls to Kensington and Chelsea Police and got hung up on 3 times and told you mind your own business. And then nothing. They didn't ring you back.
They didn't
Yeah,
ring
card
back.
number.
Nobody came to see me.
And then Men in Black and BMWs and
And it just sounds so like, you know, Mission Impossible.
I know.
And this is why, you know, when I hear people say these things on the internet and they give their testimony, and I think, yeah, I know these things happen. I know they happen. So, you know, I carried on working for about another month in the hotel, not as an escort. And, you know, just strange things were happening. Like I felt like somebody was outside the window because it was a ground floor flat. I had, it was a backyard, but they called it outside space, but it was actually a backyard. And I felt, you know, I kept thinking I could hear somebody in out the back, and I rang my brother one night and I said, David, I've had enough. I've had enough of London. And he went, right, Kaz, I'm coming for you.
Wow.
And he came to pick me up, and I just never came back.
Wow.
Never went back to London. You know, and I just carried on my life. And I never really gave it a lot of thought, actually. You know, I just carried on with my life. I worked as a temp. I worked in hotels, shops, you know, everything. I'm 62 now.
Yeah, I'm 63. We're about the same age.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There's a lot we've got in common. You look very good.
Oh, thank you. I think it's makeup.
I would have put some makeup on if I'd known.
So, you know, I just got on with things. I met my partner. You know, we built a life together. And then in 2012, when Jimmy Savile thing came out and everybody was opening up, everybody was saying, this happened to me, this happened to me. And I thought, oh, I can say something now. I can say something.
Forward.
And you know, I listened to the Esther Bakers, the Ian McFadgens, and the you know, which that's another story.
I know. I need to hold you there just for a second, just because one of the ways of targeting that they've come at me is because I stupidly put up R.I.P. Jimmy Savile when he died with a photo of myself. Yeah, myself and my sisters and my parents presenting a cheque for thousands to Stoke Mandeville Hospital. And in those days, Jim will fix it was a big thing.
Yes.
And I was at university in Warwick, and I wanted to bring my horse home, and my dad said, you'll have to ride it. I'm not coming all that way to get you. So then my mum says, oh, let's do it for Jim will fix it. And I rode for 5 days and raised thousands. And
wow.
And it was, but I think I was drugged every single night. My sister and I were drugged. I remember every day of the ride, every detail, and nothing of the evenings. We were sent to rich and famous elites, you know, stately homes and hunting yards and this, that, and the other. The last memory of the only night I remember is sitting in the stable with my sister, because she rode with me, and we're polishing the tack, and we've seen you know, we've bedded the horses down and everything, and the stately home guy, whoever he was, the elite, came and sat out with us like 2 little, you know, young girls cleaning the tack and exhausted after riding 25 miles, and he was nice to us, and I don't remember anything else. And that happened every night of the ride.
Yes.
And when we presented the cheque, I only met Jimmy Savile to my knowledge, but I believe he was probably around my childhood more. But I only met him consciously at the cheque presentation at Stoke Mandeville. And as we sat down for the photo, he slid his hand up my leg. Now, you know, just on my, I had like, you know, those trousers with stirrups on the bottom. I can't remember what we called them.
Jodhpurs.
Eh?
Jodhpurs.
Yeah, well, they were like jodhpurs, but they were the fashion version.
Okay.
He ran his hand up my leg in the presentation, and I remember thinking, ooh. And then he couldn't wait. It was as if he just wanted to take the check and get the photos and get back to whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was not awake. I was not, I had a lot of repressed memories. And
Yeah.
so I stupidly put that photo up when he died and said, R.I.P. Jimmy Savile. And
Yeah.
then everything came out, and then I started to, why don't I remember any of the nights we were put up along the
Yes.
route?
Yes.
Why are there so
Yeah.
many drugging gaps in my childhood? Why are there so many connections, like, of people that have since been prosecuted and, are on the RAINS list and all the rest of it? So,
Yeah.
I'm tortured with this photo with Jimmy Savile, like, oh, she's one of them, do you know?
Oh, yeah,
So
I've seen all that.
yeah, I just had to.
And but when this came out, my mum was still alive. Jimmy Savile used to have a thing in Manchester in an afternoon where office workers and factory workers would go to this club, dance in the lunchtime, and then go home. Now, my mum also met Jimmy Savile. When it came out, she said, but he seems such a nice man.
The other thing my mum did was send me to Champneys. Have you ever heard? Do you know?
Yes. Oh my God, Champneys.
So my mum twice said to me, "Oh, look,
Oh,
you're so exhausted doing your O levels or whatever it might be, A levels, whatever it is. I'm going to pay for you to go to Champneys for a week." And so she'd send me off to this health spa. Now, he was not there. My mum used to go quite often, and she said, oh, he was such a pain in the neck. He'd try and rally up all the women to go for a jog with him in the mornings, and he always wanted to be the centre of attention and blah, blah, blah.
mm,
But the couple of times she sent me there, he wasn't there, but I got triggered, and I won't say raped, that's too strong a word, but I got triggered and seduced, let's call it
yes.
that, while I
Yeah.
was there. And I was only young. I was like, I don't know, I can't remember, maybe 17, 18, but it was just like weird stuff happened,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Jimmy Savile, and then when it finally came out about Jimmy Savile, I rang, there was a helpline where you can ring if you had any information. And
Yeah.
I rang and I said, I'm not looking for compensation because I can't prove anything, but I just want to corroborate what other people are saying because he was creepy and he did this and blah, blah, blah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just one of the things that the
So
trolls have used to try and blacken me.
so when you think, if we think about your story being sent to Champneys, and it kind of rings a bell with that film that came out about the twins. One of them lost his memory, and they were the sons of a very high class family
Well, tell
who
me that, Phil. Do you know the name?
I can't remember the name. I watched it about a year ago. It was these twin boys, beautiful, beautiful boys. Um, they lived in a very high, very upper class place down south. The mother, she was very high class. She had a lot of high class friends. She may have even been a lady or something like that, connected with royals. These two boys were being sent to different people and, to be abused. One of them, when they got to 18, obviously they're too old at that age.
Yeah, yeah.
One of them had an accident on his motorbike. And this is a true story. This is why, when this came out, I thought, this is all true. One of them had an accident on his motorbike and lost his memory. So he had no memory of what happened to him as a child. However, his brother did, his twin brother did. And his twin brother left him to not remember because he didn't want him to go through the pain of what he was going through, of the memories. However, I think the mother died, or the father, they both died. They were clearing out the manor house that they lived in, and they found photographs.
Oh,
They found bundles of £50 notes
oh.
everywhere. And so the twin that lost his memory said, what is this? What the hell is this? And also, they weren't allowed in the house. They were kept in a shed.
Oh,
They were made to sleep in a shed out the
God.
back of the house.
I wonder if they were adopted.
I don't know. I don't. That's a point, actually. I don't know that much. I can't remember the name of the film. However, you know, when people say these things don't happen, unfortunately, this is living proof. And they had photographs, they had video
This is why
evidence.
I say that they could validate so much of survivors' testimonies, because so much was filmed. It's on the dark web. It's somewhere in
Yes.
archives. People were caught coming back from Amsterdam with pornography. Like, videos were traded.
Hmm.
You know, Spartacus magazine, the Monday Club, Pie, all of those people, they all traded pornography.
Yeah.
So why haven't the police, instead of dedicating millions to learning lessons and not prosecuting anybody, why don't they analyse the photographs and find these children and give back
Exactly.
their sanity to say, we
Exactly.
didn't make this up, here's proof, you
Exactly.
know? And then
Exactly.
just the thing on twins as well. I did a lot of work with Kathy Morgan, another survivor,
Yes.
and
I know
she's a
Kathy.
twin, and she says that there were, and I know these experiments were done since Mengele in World War II, and if you look at Three Identical Strangers and the Jewish orphanage in New York,
Yes.
there's loads of evidence,
Yes.
right? But Kathy says, as a twin, it's a bit like the Kinsey report when Kinsey paid
Oh.
paedophiles, right? With
Oh.
the twins and triplets, the fathers or the parents who were in the, you know, like recruited, would be told, right, I want you to sexually abuse this twin and not abuse that one, and let's observe.
And let's see what happens.
Let's observe the development. Is it nature? Is it nurtured? Blah blah blah. Does one excel in life? Does the other flunk out? What the
Yeah.
mad scientist stuff? It's horrendous.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You know, so you know, this happened to these two poor young lads. One of them had no memory of it. The other one, you know, was fully aware of what had happened. He didn't want his twin to go through any of what he was going through, so he left him to not remember, you
oh
know. Um, yeah, I think I saw it on Netflix. I'm not sure. Netflix. Let's not go on about Netflix.
no, I know.
Now, the other point I wanted to address with you is when this Jimmy Savile thing came out, you know, and then everybody was saying what had happened to them, what, you know, what experiences they'd had. I got to know a woman on Twitter. Her nickname was Discovery 77. And it turns out, you know, so I told her everything. I told her everything that I experienced, everything I saw. And she said she was quite involved with Exaro or
Mhm.
Exaro, however you
Yeah,
pronounce.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she said to me, would you be prepared to give an interview to Mark Conrad? So I said yes. Oh my God, that could have I couldn't have made a bigger mistake.
I know. I nearly got pulled into that.
So I did. I gave unfortunately nothing ever came of it, you know.
Okay.
However, I did talk to Mark Conrad on several occasions. I gave him names, addresses. He went off and checked everything out, came back to me and said, yeah, it all checks out. And then I didn't hear anything else from him, which, you know, I was kind of glad about at the time, because I thought, oh my God, what have I done?
Yeah,
You know, what have I opened up here?
yeah,
Am I in danger again?
yeah.
So anyway, nothing was done. This woman, Discovery 77, backed off from me and then started to troll me,
Wow.
calling me a fake friend. I had no idea why. I do actually. She was attacking someone, and I said, do you think this is appropriate? That's a survivor. However, if you don't get on with them, or if you don't like that person, that is besides the point.
You're not telling me Discovery, is that Shiva Burton?
No,
Oh.
I don't believe it was.
All right, sorry, carry on.
But then I don't know for sure.
Okay.
However, it turns out that this woman, I got very friendly with Darren Thornham.
I don't know him.
Well, I'll tell you about Darren Thornham another time, maybe.
Okay.
But he's a survivor. He was at Thornham Magna, a military place that took children, and
Yeah, that rings a bell. That's Suffolk.
yeah, but Lord Bramhall.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, I heard you mention Lord Bramhall last night, so it brought all this memory back. Okay, so I got very friendly with Darren Thornham. We had a lot of conversations. Darren is a very lucid, very together person, but they attacked him so much. They tried to take his child off him. He was sectioned. Oh, it was just unbelievable what happened to him because of XRO. This woman, Discovery, was also involved with him. And she started, and I said to her, is it appropriate, I used to call her Disco, is it appropriate, Disco, to attack this man when he's a survivor? Whether you believe him or not, he is clearly a survivor. So then she started attacking me, saying, her and Esther Baker, attacking me, saying, you're a fake friend, your story's lies. So I backed off, but I still kept an eye on what was going on. And it turns out that Discovery was possibly called Claire Bennett, who, according to somebody that I think has, an authority in this, they said she's also a therapist. I can't quite remember where she was from. It'll come to me another time. But it's north, somewhere north. And that is, her name came back to me. I can't watch Sharon Gale's videos. They're just too awful, to be honest. The doing lives when you're drunk, it's like phoning an ex-boyfriend when you're drunk. You don't do it, And so she was drunk on one of her lives, and she was reading the chat, and she kept saying, Claire Bennett, Claire Bennett.
Yeah, I think I might have seen that.
And I thought, oh my God.
Yeah, I think I might have seen that bit.
Has she been involved with Claire Bennett or Discovery 77? Huge alarm bells went off. And then I thought, has she been working with them and become a bit of a loose cannon because she's drunk all the time? Or, drunk often, not all the time, but often, and become a bit of a loose cannon. And that was the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, because she's lost her daughter. However her daughter died, her daughter is dead. And that is not a nice thing for any parent to go through, but then I'm thinking, like everyone else, there's something not right here. And I'm wondering if she's been brought into discredit, like Discovery was brought into discredit. The other thing that I found out while I was kind of, involved with Discovery, another woman got friendly with me, very, very friendly. Steve, my partner, and I even invited her to our home. We cooked for her. We took her out. We were really hospitable. We became, good friends. Like yourself, you've made friends with people and realized, oh, you know, this is a huge mistake. So I got very friendly with this woman. She would ring me every night after work and we'd have conversations, and, you know, she would tell me things about her life, and we had things in common. Like, I was brought up in Australia, she lived there, you know, so we had a few things in common. Then I saw a Twitter post of her telling somebody else, I can't remember who, I should have saved it, I didn't, I don't think to do these things, saying that she was paid by Exaro to get to know me and discredit me.
God, oh my God.
Put misinformation out about me. Now, she said some pretty awful things about my partner, and I
Is this Claire Bennett we're talking about?
no, this is another woman.
All right. You
Who
don't
was
share her
involved.
name.
She was very much involved with Claire Bennett, the Discovery 77.
And you don't want to share her name, or do you?
Not at this minute. I will share it with you privately, and you can
Yeah, okay.
kind of look her up.
Okay, sent in on you.
So, so she, you know, and get this, Angela, she lives on a barge.
Yeah, it's a
She
big
lives on a
thing.
barge in Isleworth.
I don't know where Isleworth is, but
I think it's Surrey. I'm not sure. I'm
yeah.
not familiar with. I only know the West End of London,
I
and
think
where I lived.
one thing John Wedger did right was talking about how paedophiles can
Yes,
escape the register by just shifting counties
going.
or
Oh,
jurisdictions every 28 days. I bet they wish he never shared that information,
I bet they do.
because
I'll bet.
that is a huge. Not
Yeah.
everybody. I lived on a houseboat in California, and it was fabulous. And I have friends that go to the Norfolk Broads or whatever. I even had two school friends that I think they lived on a houseboat somewhere near Richmond or something.
Richmond, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, Richmond.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big thing. So we're not tarring everybody with the same brush,
Absolutely.
but it's
Yeah.
absolutely a catchment. I think we should take a 5-minute break and then do a part 2 to make
Sure.
this
Yeah.
digestible. So,
Let me just see what time it is.
are you all
I
right? It's 2 o'clock. Shall we do part 2 another day? We've done an hour.
No, I'm quite happy to continue.
Oh.
I haven't got anything planned for today. I've booked everything off. I've cancelled it.
Oh, listen, I'm really honoured. I really am honoured.
Well, the thing is, I've told this story to quite a lot of people,
And nobody's run with it.
nobody was interested.
Wow.
You know.
I'm going to take a bathroom break, and I'm going to send
too.
you a new link for a part 2.
Okay.
All right, in about 5
All right.
minutes.
Speak to you in a sec.
All right, God bless.